Hello my friends, I'm Tom with Weapons Education, and in this video, sit down and get your popcorn, relax. Let's talk about the best gun caliber for self-defense. I'm going to get a little detailed, not too much. That's why I'm asking for your input down below. As far as I'm going to do a broad stroke on 5 particular calibers of semi-automatic. 380, 9, going up to a 40, 45, and then the big 10 millimeter. So let's start out with the video this way and think in your mind, okay, we're talking about the best gun caliber. Think of the caliber itself. I got a bunch of guns on the table and a bunch of ammo here. We're going to talk about the caliber itself, the speed of the bullet, how it expands, the energy, and what will it do for you in self-defense. So you're in a situation where you walk into a convenience store. Everything's going good, you're on line to pay, someone walks in, everyone down, everyone down. It happens a lot in America. Everyone down on the ground, he's got a gun. What are you going to do? Well, obviously, the people watching this channel will be armed. A lot of them will have a 9mm, say, here's a Glock 19, and now this is you, and you're on the ground, and you do what you got to do, you save your life because he's about to kill everyone. Or who knows what he's going to do. He's got a gun, and he's threatening your life and others. Okay, so you defend yourself and others, and you stop the threat. Use the 9mm. Remember, we're talking about a caliber. What's the best gun caliber for self-defense? And in that case, the 9mm would be perfect. Of course, the gun that you train the best with, the gun you shoot the most accurate with, you know not to pull the trigger until you get those sights lined up, and you've got your eye hand, you got your coordination all lined up because you've practiced enough, you can stop the threat. Okay, now a different scenario is you go in that same convenience store and everything goes fine. You walk out, all right, time to get my Uber. So you go on your phone, you put it in, you wait. You got, 4 minutes. Okay, I'm going to walk 100 feet here to the edge where there's no traffic. And you're at the edge of the convenience store, kind of a little dark area. And now the Uber pulls up, you flag him down. There's your black Toyota, okay, whatever Camry pulls up. All right, that's my Uber. And you're about to get in, and there's someone in the back seat. Rolls the window down. Uh-oh. He's got a gun. Get in the car. Get in the car. What are you going to do? You're going to get in the car with someone pointing a gun at you? He's pointing a gun at the driver. He's pointing a gun at you. What are you going to do? So we're talking about the best caliber for self-defense. And in this case, you got to shoot through the door. Is a 9mm going to be the right caliber for you? Now, it's not going to shoot through a door, and it's not going to do it. I've done it a lot. Research a video, I'll put the link below, to shooting through a car windshield, for instance. I've done it. And only about 10-15% of the bullet actually gets through the windshield. Going through a car door is probably even less. And then it ricochets and goes in a different direction. So it's going to be difficult to shoot through a windshield or a car door, particularly with a 9mm, which doesn't have that much energy. Now in that case, you're going to want a 10mm, which I have one over here. So you pull, here's one here, 10mm. Bam! Right through the door, stop the threat. You unload your mag, you get a new mag in, and you're good. You stop the threat. You shot the perpetrator and that's sitting in that back seat. Through the door, through the windshield, everything, you stop the threat. And you can do that with a 10mm, and that's where we're talking about calibers. So I'm going to sit here at the edge of the table, and we have a gun for each caliber, and I have the rounds to show you, but I'm going to talk about the velocity of each round, the energy of each round, and the amount it expands. We're talking about hollow points, of course, for self-defense, and which gun caliber is good for self-defense. They're all good. You need them all. You need the gun that you're going to carry. But I'm just saying, this is a good video topic. I want to discuss it and say, that's why I carry a 10mm a lot, a 10mm. Whether it's the XDM or the SIG, I have a SIG 10mm also, and those are the X10. That one has great guns, let's sit down and let's do it. Welcome to Weapons Education. I'm going to sit down at the front of the table now with my hand and show you the representation. Let's get into it for your comments in. All right, my friends, let's look at personal self-defense ammunition and the different calibers. We're starting off with a .380, and then we're going to go to a 9, and we're going to talk about the .40, the .45, look how big and stouty that is, and then the 10 millimeter. Now, I purposely put full metal jackets on these four, just for the heck of it. There's a lot of new watchers out there, a lot of new viewers, and to teach everybody, most of you know, you want to have hollow points for self-defense. And the hollow point will expand, we're going to talk about expansion here in a moment, into the bad guy and increase your odds of what's called stopping power, which stops them from doing bad things to you. So if you want, you can also keep in mind, you can mix and match and throw your comments in different bullet types as far as hollow point or maybe a full metal jacket. You can mix and match some in your pistol to get the full. If you got a 10-12 rounds, you can put 2 or 3 full metal jackets that have different penetration abilities. So keep that in mind. Now, I want to do this in one clean take and go right straight through it. Let's start with the .380. So I have a pistol for each caliber to discuss. Okay, I've got my notes here. And let's talk about a .380 first of all. Here is a 6-hour P238. I think I have 3 or 4 of these. These are beauties, little pocket pistols. So these were designed for the .380, as we're talking about the caliber. The .380 kind of came back as it was designed way back in the early 1900s, in 1908 by, of course, John Browning. And it had a resurgence around the year 2000 or so, and people wanted small pocket pistols. And then SIG came out with the P238, this one. And let's talk about the .380. Like I said, John Browning designed it. How's that right there? John Browning designed it in 1908. Let's talk about the speed. The average speed of a .380 is 1,000 to 1,100 feet per second. So when we talk about calibers, and when you're buying a gun for a lot of new people, you want to know the speed of the caliber you're purchasing. This one is, the average is 1,000 to 1,100. Kind of fast for a small bullet. It should be a little faster, being that it's only 90 grains. It's a small grain. The less the grains, the quicker it should go. The more the grains, like a 45, if that was a 230 grain, it's going to be harder to push faster. So the speed's about 1,000 to 1,100. The expansion's important. So on a hollow point .380, the expansion is right at .40, almost a half of an inch. So it's almost a half of an inch. Usually they double in size a good hollow point. The energy of a .380 is between 200 and 240 foot-pounds. And that's what you want to look at a lot when you're buying a specific caliber of a pistol, because the more energy it has, then the more so-called stopping power it has. And I've used this example in the past. It's kind of like if you drop something like a grapefruit from here onto your foot, it's not going to hurt your foot. But if you drop a bowling ball from here onto your foot, it's going to smash your toes and break your bones in your foot. It's got more energy. So the more energy in the bullet, the more damage it will do when it hits. All right, so we're looking at 200 to 240 foot-pounds of energy in a .380. Now keep in mind, the different manufacturers, it's drastic as far as the different manufacturers, whether it's Winchester, Hornady, Federal, and then the 3 good ones, great ones, they're all good, but the 3 great ones are Double Tap, Buffalo Bore, Underwood. Now those will give you the 240 foot-pounds that you're looking for. So always get one of those 3 for self-defense. 90 grain is the norm on 380s. Now on 9mm, as we get a little bigger here, they're gonna have to represent that. Of course, a lot of you have a Glock 19, and look at the size of these pistols, by the way, because people buy different pistols for different reasons, and size is a lot. So look how small a 380 is. Now you can get this same SIG in what's called a 938 model and a 9mm. That's a small package. But this is a Glock 19. It's still a pretty small package, and size means a lot for people for concealed carry. And we're talking about 9mm. I have another one here. This one is a Car ST9, and this ST9 is one of 1,000 special edition here. From, is this TIG? I believe it was TIG, but really awesome from Car Arms, 9mm. Benghazi, that's what this was. The man who saved a lot of human lives with his marksmanship. So now 9mm. Let's talk about the 9mm. I'll hold the Glock 19, and let's talk about it. Now the 9mm, probably the most famous round there is. The speed is between 1,000 and 1,400 feet per second. So choose your ammo properly. Understand the 9mm is the second one to the right, and understand you want a hollow point, and also understand that the 3 manufacturers, the Underwood, the Double Tap, the Buffalo Bore, are going to have the fastest rounds, the feet per second. They're going to have the most energy, which the 9mm goes from between 450 to 520 foot-pounds, and the average grain on a 9mm is 115 grains up to 147. That's average. I know there's differences. We're just talking ballpark here, so throw in your comments. The 9mm, let's talk about capacity, because that's why people get these pistols, because they have a high capacity. And also recoil is nil on the 380, and the 9mm, you can carry a lot of rounds. You can also have very low recoil. Stopping power, it's kind of basic on a 9mm. That's where it kind of falls a little low. It's the 450 foot-pounds of energy, stopping power, up to 520 with the right ammo. And remember, the larger the grains, the slower it's going to go, and things like that. So pick your ammo properly for your pistol and practice with it so you know what's going on. So when you're in that situation, you have to shoot through a car door, or you have to shoot someone in self-defense to save your life and others and your family, you know exactly what's going on. Now we're moving up in power here. So the 9mm is good, but I've done a video with a man who was shot 5-6 times point blank and lived, thank God, and he did a wonderful interview with me. But yeah, the 9mm is not always going to be the end-all savior pistol. You want to move up to possibly 40 caliber, and there's not much recoil with a 90. And then as we get bigger, people are going to say, well, the recoil is getting bigger. To me, recoil is a little overplayed. I think the best now we're up to 40 caliber. The best 40 caliber, HK designs their 40s around the 40 caliber, which is a high pressure round. Extremely high pressure, the 40 caliber. It's a shortened 10mm. It's a little small cannon of a round. And I've done a couple of videos on it. Designed in 1990 by Smith & Wesson Winchester, which shortened the 10mm. It went into production in 1990. Speeds around 1,100 to 1,400 feet per second. And the expansion's 3/4 of an inch. So the expansion on a 40 cal is pretty big. The expansion is that butterfly effect it takes, when it goes into flesh or an animal and opens up. The more it opens up, the more damage it does. That's what it's designed to do. The energy is between 470 and a whopping 590, depending on the ammo you choose on a 40 caliber. So a 40 is going to really protect you more so than a 9, but people are going to say, well, it depends on what you shoot the best, and you know, shot placement, and unless you can't hit your target, it doesn't matter what you're carrying. I agree. But I mean, don't carry a caliber that you can't hit your target with, but once you get a caliber that you can hit your target with, you're good to go. So I like to carry, for me, a larger caliber for self-defense. I never want to shoot it, but if I do, I want it to do multiple amounts of things. Go through car doors, windshields, whatever it's got to be. Okay, now let's move up to the 45, and to represent that caliber, oh, here I have a 1911. Gonna have a 1911 in the mix, and this Smith & Wesson PC 1911 Performance Center, beautiful. I've done a number of videos on this. I have a couple of them, the E1, and then this 1911 here, this PC, beautiful, from the Performance Center. Keep in mind, everything from the Performance Center is warranted for life, no matter who owns it, no questions asked. You got a problem, 30 years later, they fix it and make it brand new. Always buy Performance Center when you buy Smith & Wesson. And with the 45 designed by John Browning, let's talk about that caliber. Gosh, I love the 45. It's a fat, look how fat it is. Look how fat it is compared to, let's say, a 9. Here, let's do that. Okay, here's a 9. Here's a 45. Look how fat that is. A big, fat 45. Of course, it should be a hollow point, but you can mix in some full metal jackets. And designed in 1904 by John Browning. The expansion is an inch or more. Okay, that round's gonna go roll away. The expansion is an inch or more. The energy is up to 590, even with such a large, let's say a 230 grain bullet. 180 to 230 is the average size grain or weight for a 45. So a 45 is going to really, will it go through that windshield? Yeah, it'll go through the windshield and probably take out the bad guy in that circumstance that I spoke about. Will it go through a door? A full metal jacket might, if you get the right one with a 45, or even with a 40, if you got the right full metal jacket. But with a hollow point, you know, it's gonna mushroom out and not go far with penetration through a car door. So you may want to go up to a 10 millimeter, and a 10 millimeter, which is like my premier round, which I love. And of course, I have to show the Colt Delta Elite, my first pistol in my collection, and that was in 1989. The 10 millimeter, a cannon of a gun, very similar ballistics to a 357 Magnum or even a 41 revolver. And it's just a massive semi-automatic. That's what we're talking about, semi-automatic calibers. Designed in 1983 by Jeff Cooper, and the FBI took it in, and then they just didn't handle it too well. The females in particular, they said the recoil was too much. Then the 1986 shootout in Miami, I did a video on that. That was a disaster. A lot of people died. The good guys died. They were up against, you know, 5.5. They were up against ARs, so it was impossible for them to use pistols against rifles. But anyway, the 10 millimeter's got a speed of 13 to 1500 feet per second. It's going to expand over an inch. It's going to be wonderful for hunting or going through that car door. Yes, this will go through the car door. Maybe with a hollow point. Definitely with a full metal jacket. And it's got energy, and this is why. It's got energy from 650 up to 775 pounds, and that's a lot of energy. That's a big monster cannonball coming at you really fast at speeds of 13 to 1500 feet per second, depending on the inches of your barrel. This is a 5-inch Colt Delta Elite 10 millimeter. And 155 grain to 180 grain is the norm with a 10 millimeter. I think is the, you know, if you can handle it, it's a little bit of recoil. You know, I've done videos with my wife. She's all from 120 pounds, and she easily shoots it. You know, a little thing she is, no problem. But you know, to a lot of people, it's a bit much. But it will take. These people who use this for hunting on a worldwide basis against game that's massive. So it's a big caliber that you're going to want by your side for scenarios that what if the person has some sort of body armor or something, you know, I'm not going to say it's going to go through body armor, but who knows what you got to go through. And think of it, the 10 millimeter could be the best gun for personal self-defense, or at least know your calibers. That's what this video was all about. I had fun with it. Let me know what you think in the comments. My name is Tom. Please subscribe and let me know what you think. Which pistol do you have for self-defense? Which caliber? And why? Thanks so much, my friends. I care about all of you. We're all American patriots and we're doing great. America's doing great. We're coming back. Thank you. Bye-bye.